wanna win, let me spin, boy. A dunks aside, I'm super fly like I'm hanging off the rim, boy.
The Street Fighter series is one of the oldest franchises in the fighting game world. Street Fighter 6 sees fights in new parts of the world and offers a fresh take on the fighting game by putting battles in what appears to be real life, from a park in the USA where a boxer is cheering for tattooing a man in a shirt, to a shady fight in the back alley in Oxford shoes. The highlight of various locations around the world is a nod to the new World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6, a single-player adventure where players can create their avatars to begin their journey to become great fighters. As I just mentioned, there are modes in the new game. These are the World Tour, the Fighting Ground, and the Battle Center. The Tekken franchise is one of the longest-running and most endearing fighting game franchises out there, and for good reason. The series is known for its brutal fighting system, fun characters, and a fierceness about it that puts it above other franchises. Tekken 7 is widely hailed as the best in the line because of not only its story, but the overall focus on gameplay and customization to make sure everyone enjoyed it. Now, Tekken 8 must try to top it, and the reveal trailer showed that things are picking up right where they left off. Jin and Kazuya are at it once more, and the game looks beautiful. The story of Cal Kestis continues in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the galaxy-spanning third-person action-adventure game developed by Respawn Entertainment in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games. This narrative-driven single-player game begins 5 years after the events of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and follows Cal's desperate battle as the galaxy gets darker. New and familiar dangers will surround Cal, who has been pushed out of the galaxy by the Empire. As one of the last surviving Jedi Knights, Cal must persevere through the galaxy's darkest times. Explore new planets and familiar frontiers in the Star Wars galaxy, each with unique biomes, challenges, and enemies. Become a master of new abilities, equipment, and skills that will enhance your ways of exploring, fighting, and navigating. With larger areas and remote corners to explore, players who venture beyond the horizon will find hidden rewards.
As long as we fight.
Crimson Desert is an online open-world title with various twists that might just get you try it out. You'll be set in the world of Pywell, a land that is full of dangers and is constantly changing. The people of this land struggle to get by every single day, and it's up to you and other mercenaries to try and make the land safe again. Yes, you are a mercenary in this game, and you'll take on jobs to fight monsters and villains of all types in order to save people. But you don't have to do these jobs alone. Team up with others to ensure your victory.
Dog 2 will be picked up soon. Keep on it!
Crime Boss Rockay City is a first-person shooter heist game that can be played alone or with friends. Play as Travis Baker, a man determined to commit crimes one by one and become the new king of Rockay City. Rockay City is a thriving metropolis that smells of excitement, from sandy coves to towering skyscrapers. But beyond all this splendor is a fierce territorial war. After the death of the former mob boss, a new Rockay City king is sought. You're not the only one fighting for the throne. You have to choose your team according to your skills and complete daring missions in hopes of obtaining money, territory, and crown. Stealing money, drugs, and priceless artifacts is more fun with accomplices. Enter the PvE co-op multiplayer game and you can unleash exciting hits and heists for up to 4 players.
Dogs have landed. Mission accomplishment.
Nicely done.
I expected it to be harder. This is fun.
There's certainly a lot of action to be had in Dead Island 2. The zombie apocalypse has never looked so exciting or brutal. Recent revealed and heading our way in February, the action in this installment of the Dead Island franchise will take players to the sunny climes of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and another as yet undisclosed location. Surviving and thriving during a zombie outbreak is no mean feat, of course, so players will be able to explore the playstyles and storylines of 6 different characters during their gameplay. Action-wise, there will be a heavier focus on melee combat, with the promise of more gore and gruesome ways to off the undead than ever before. Definitely, one for fans of life or death action to look up next year. Rise of the Ronin is a combat-focused open-world action RPG that takes place in Japan at a time of great change. It is the very end of a 300-year-long Edo period, commonly known as Bakumatsu. Set in the late 19th century, Japan is facing the darkest of times as it struggles with its oppressive rulers and deadly diseases, while Western influence permeates as civil war continues to rage between the Tokugawa shogunate and the anti-shogunate factions. Here in this time of mayhem, you embody a ronin character, a warrior bound to no master and free to make choices of its own. Rise of the Ronin is a new Team Ninja experience that will immerse you in an historically inspired world while bringing together its renowned combat action with katanas and the likes, with new firearm weaponry that depicts the unique personality of its time period.
I will watch over you all as your blades carve a new future.
Resident Evil 4 is one of the most iconic and influential games of all time. Without Resident Evil 4, games like Dead Space might never have existed. Its over-the-shoulder camera even became the standard for third-person shooters moving forward. With a heavier emphasis on the horror elements, modern rendering features, and more advanced AI, the Resident Evil 4 remake could become a new gold standard for the genre. Are you ready to go back to where it all began once again? Assassin's Creed Mirage is going to be one of the titles in the franchise, but there will be a few key differences this time around. In Assassin's Creed Mirage, you'll play as Basim 20 years before the events of Valhalla, and this time you'll see him in the ancient version of Baghdad. But the return to the beginning will be a reference to the gameplay. It'll be about the original 3 building blocks of the series: the stealth, the assassinations, and parkouring all over the city. Baghdad will be big enough to have a lot of fun in, so you'll want to check this out when it arrives. In 2008, players discovered a now iconic horror space game series, Dead Space. 15 years and 6 games later, Motive Studios is bringing Dead Space back with a remake of the original game. The Dead Space remake keeps the same plot as the original game. The story takes place in the 26th century and follows the adventures of engineer Isaac Clarke. He is assigned to a repair vessel that goes to a planetary mining ship to investigate a distress call. The ship is under attack by mutated human corpses, and Isaac needs to survive and save the crewmates. There are many worlds where the gods are benevolent and seek to help those under their charge. But in Atlas Fallen, that is not the case. It's up to you to save the world and lead humanity into a new age. You'll be given great abilities in Atlas Fallen, as you'll have to use both the powers of the sand of your world, as well as the essence of the enemies you defeat in order to grow stronger. The action will be fast and powerful, befitting a hero of the world. You'll fight mighty monsters in order to reclaim the world, and yet, you don't have to do it alone. A co-op or single-player journey awaits you. Inspired by the familiar story of Pinocchio, Lies of P is an action Souls-like game set in a cruel, dark Belle Epoque world. All of humanity is lost in a once beautiful city that has now become a living hell filled with unspeakable horrors. Lies of P offers an elegant world filled with tension, a deep combat system, and a gripping story. Guide Pinocchio and experience his unrelenting journey to become human. Experience interconnected procedural quests that play out depending on how you lie. These choices will then affect how the story ends. With Pinocchio being a doll, you can change parts of his body to gain new skills and hopefully an edge in battle. But not all of the enhancements are for fighting though, they can also provide several other unique and useful features. The Lords of the Fallen is a reboot/follow-up to 2014's Lords of the Fallen. This Souls-like action RPG was a hit with fans of dark fantasy and brutal combat alike. So, it's pretty exciting news that a new installment of the game is set to launch at some point next year. The Lords of the Fallen will build on the themes of the original game, with the action taking place in the dual realms of the living and the dead. Traversing these deadly worlds as Dark Crusaders will be a core component of the gameplay, so there'll be plenty of action to be had fighting off monsters in the bowels of these parallel lands. The Lords of the Fallen will also have online co-op functionality, meaning players can bring a companion on their journey through the hellish realms that await. Continuing the trend of Souls-likes, Black Myth Wukong is another entry in the popular genre. Based on the 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West. Players will be taking control of a monkey known only as the Destined One, who looks very similar to the titular character Sun Wukong, as they battle through a fantastical rendition of 7th century China against many supernatural beings and creatures. Multiple gameplay videos have been released for the game, showing a fluent and hard-hitting combat system with stunning visuals, all running in Unreal Engine 5, making the game set one of the first major projects to use the new engine. The Diablo franchise represents one of the best dungeon crawler ARPGs out there, but Blizzard doesn't always know how to handle it. With Diablo 4, they might just get their act back together, as they're going to use the newest advances in tech to make sure the game looks great and plays great. At least, that's what we hope they'll do. In the game, which takes place right after a plague devastates the world, you will face huge monsters called Behemoths. Due to the size of your enemies, you have to pass not only the terrain, but also the huge enemies roaming the wilderness. Raw power won't be enough, as they must use the various tools in their arsenal to defeat these gigantic creatures and other nightmarish foes who explore this brutal world in search of a possible cure. Behemoth is coming for MetaQuest 2, PSVR 2, and PC VR in late 2023.
I have found no meaning to this struggle. But when the end comes for you...
Against the horrors that dwell in the darkness.
Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 is a third-person shooter hack-and-slash video game developed by Saber Interactive and published by Focus Entertainment. In 2023, we will be able to play on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S platforms. In this sequel to Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, you must embody the superhuman dexterity and ferocity of a Space Marine, the greatest of the Emperor's warriors, unleashing deadly abilities and devastating weapons to wipe out hordes of brutal tyranids.
This night, nothing will survive our wrath.
In the realm of Final Fantasy XVI, the Mother Crystals are a source of power and pride amongst its people, and by using the powers of these crystals, peace has been obtained, for a time at least. But with the blight threatening all, and darkness already taking the life of a key person in the realm of Rosaria, Clive Rosefield is going to go on a dark mission of revenge to not just avenge that whom he lost, but to get the destiny of his people back and away from the crystals. The game promises to be darker and more intense than any Final Fantasy game that has come before it, so be prepared for not just massive battles, but a tone that is different. Whether it works or not we can't say, but we can say that we're very interested. Korean game developer Shift Up is releasing its new name, Stellar Blade, known as Project Eve, during PlayStation's State of Play presentation. The game's story follows a post-apocalyptic society centered around the main city of Xi'an, which was built beneath a desolate wasteland as a result of everything that caused humanity to fall into turmoil. One of the main characters, Adam, realizes that the people of the city are in a deep sleep due to energy depletion and that if allowed to continue, this will cause eternal darkness. Since we see both melee sword-like weapons and ranged weapon-like weapons, the fighting mechanics in the game are reminiscent of Nier Automata and also a Platinum game like Bayonetta. Developed exclusively for the PlayStation 5, the game focuses on fast-paced and third-person action-based combat. Spidey is back to swing around Manhattan in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, set to release in 2023 on PlayStation 5. This sequel continues the story of Peter Parker and Miles Morales, as the two friendly neighborhood Spider-Men have to stop supervillains from wreaking havoc in New York City. Among the bad guys threatening NYC is Venom, the alien symbiote that had his own movie back in 2018. Venom won't be the only villain starring in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, as Insomniac Games confirmed Peter and Miles will need to face several enemies.
Yes, we will.
Instinct Ion fuses intuitive first-person combat options with environmental puzzles and the action-adventure genre. Following the story of April Summers as you venture through the habitat of a once-lost civilization, you'll find yourself face-to-face with the scariest elements of the prehistoric pantheon. The title offers seamless control in both first- and third-person gameplay as you search for lost artifacts. Atomic Heart is an action RPG that puts players into an alternative timeline in 1955. Technology has bloomed with the Soviet Union thriving in today's society. Players are stepping into the role of a mentally unstable KGB agent named P3 who is sent out to investigate a facility that has gone silent. Now, players will venture into the remote area and search for clues. You'll find that the area is filled with hostile robots and other enemies, leading in a battle to get the area under control. The developers have also showcased plenty of weapons and modifications that they'll be able to craft as they progress through the campaign.